Hi, guys. Welcome to this week's episode of Global News Review. My name is Ola, and on this channel, we'll talk about personal finance, investment, and the economy. And we have this every Saturday where we discuss news that affects your pocket and what you should be doing differently. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe and join the community. Of course, it's important to let you know that the Money with Club powers these sessions. The Money with Club, visit us www.themoneywithclub.com. And basically, we're an investment community and we learn and take action. That is what we do. So we are taking new members. We're going to be opening up to two new members at the end of this month. So look out for it. www.themoneywithclub.com. Now I'm going on to the first news of the day. Of course, if you are listening in, please say hi. I'm looking out for you. The very first news, I'm starting from Nigeria. So exciting. So there is this body that is empowered to regulate, or the job of the body is to make sure that all countries around the world are fighting financial crimes, are aligned on how to fight financial crimes, right? The acronym is FATF, right? Financial Action Task Force or something like that. That's what it's called, right? But then they launched this list annually where they put countries on something called a gray list, right? And it's reviewed annually. Now, that gray list, if a country is on that gray list, the wahala is plenty. So, if you are in Nigeria and you know that there was a time when you could wire money easily abroad, or you could receive money easily from your family and friends abroad, no issues, and then all of a sudden, you just felt like, why is this so stressful? Or you want to do transactions with someone offshore and they just hear Nigeria and like, no, not happening. Or you have anything where they just see Nigeria and they flag it banking wise, right? Guess what happened? In 2023, we got added to the grey list. Now, what literally happens with most organizations, most standard organizations, is that if you want to onboard a new partner, like it will go through compliance. And the process of going through compliance is that compliance will check where is this person, is there any country restriction, right? And if there's a country restriction of any point, of any sort, right, they will flag it. So if you remember when it was announced that Mercury Bank shut down all bank accounts that were owned by Nigerians or had Nigerian affiliations, it was this list that was the problem. So Nigeria has been on this grey list since 2023. Like, I mean, there was like backstory of when President Obasanjo was in power and he set up EFCC, did all those things, and there was so much celebration, and we're taking up the list, and we're now we could do transactions. Yes. 2023 was reversed because some civil servants somewhere did not do their work. They say you should join civil service. You said no, I want to make money. See, they are running the shots for you. I mean, they're calling the shots for you. Now, so what has happened is that sometime in May, we talked about it that Nigeria had announced that they were working towards getting out of that list in October this year. The list is always a fresh list is announced annually in October. And so Nigeria was taken out of the list. If you have any global anything, you should be dancing. If you have any ties, any plans, any goals, anything to do anything global, where they'll be wiring money to you, where they would use your passport, you should be dancing because this thing is major. It actually is major because people have suffered. I can imagine running a business, register a company abroad, you want to go global, and they say you can't have a bank account because Nigeria, or somebody is supposed to wire money to you, their bank refuses to transfer the money, their own instruction, because Nigeria is this list. It's not the president, it's this list. So, congratulations to every Nigerian. Well done to everyone that was on the team to make sure that this happened. There was an announcement in May that it was going to happen, that they were working towards it, that they had met, I think, 70% of the requirements, and they were pushing to finish up by October. We are excited to say that Nigeria is open for business. Trust me, this is a big one. I'm really excited about it because I have personally struggled. Like, I have suffered on the back of this. Some things happen and you're like, why am I in Nigeria? What is this about? Yeah. This list was the problem. And I knew it was the problem, but yeah, we're moving forward. Now, the next news, this is global news, right? This one was that OpenAI launched. Things are changing, guys. Things are really changing. OpenAI launched a web browser, right? That is centered around the chatbot ChatGPT. Now, it might sound like, so what does that mean? Well, guys, if you are a Google investor and you understand that Google's main game, right? Their main game is their search and their ads. And that if AI can come and take away that bread and butter, the moat around Google is gone, then you need to watch this news, because the disruptor is about to be disrupted, or the disruptor needs to take it easy, or needs to be guided because he's about to be disrupted. So Google has had issues, right? And in fact, Google had issues. There was some talk about the breakup of Google. And the conclusion of the Department of Justice and the court was that because of AI, Google might not have the kind of moat that they think they have around themselves, so just leave them. And this is proving true, because if OpenAI actually pulls this off and adoption actually spreads, what it means is that you don't need an ad to see what you need to see on the internet. If you type in ChatGPT, ChatGPT will go around everywhere, consider your location, consider your personal nuances, and find those websites without you seeing an ad. That is major. So Google stock price of course dropped on the back of this. But then of course, there's still adoption, there's still all those things, still those teething issues, and also Google is also not going to sleep. We have had conversations. I mean, you should actually listen in on these sessions every week and even go back to the previous ones, even though that news has passed, but the learnings are still valuable. We've had conversations around how Google was also struggling with how much strength to put in their Gemini, because it would push out their ads business. So how do they monetize Gemini enough to replace ads, or else they would self-implode? Meaning, if they strengthen Gemini to do what an ad would find for you, then why would you pay for an ad? And if you're not paying for an ad, how would they make money? Now, we're thinking within the Google ecosystem, but OpenAI is saying that you guys are just in a world of your own. The world is moving. And so, my recommendation, if you haven't already, you should be in some kind of AI type asset investment type thing, because artificial intelligence it's now a norm. Like, you should be using artificial intelligence for some part of your business. It is now a norm. So if you are forward thinking, you should be investing in some kind of AI type thing. That's one. Secondly, if you're a Google investor, you need to start looking at how they are going to adopt or adapt to these changes, because ad revenue is major. And if they are going to lose that, if OpenAI is going to take that part, can Gemini step up? Would you pay for the premium version? Those are the conversations to have. But we keep watching. But long and short of this story is that things are changing, and things are changing right before our eyes. And the final news is out of Africa. Oh, before, okay, I already announced, yeah, but the Money with Club is taking new members starting on the 31st. We have a cap. It's a small community, so we don't take on too many people. Maybe at the end of this session, I'll see if I can pull off a testimonial on online, or you can actually check us out, right? www.themoneywithclub.com. And basically, what we do is we learn about investing. We learn about how the economy impacts our personal finances. We hear about the best deals and we invest. What have we done in terms of deals? We've done deals. We've helped members across the world to own property in Nairobi, Kenya. We've invested in creatives. Of course, the regular stocks, euro bonds, right? All sorts of investments. We have logistics investments. We have biotech, all sorts of things that we have brought to the club, right? And of course, like the boring, like real estate, blah, 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 and all that. We're currently exploring investment opportunities in Dubai. Like, that's how it is. Like, if there's a deal, bring it. Let's look at it together. Let's work out a structure that works for everyone, and let's jump in. That's literally how it is in the club. So if that's something you're looking for, and if also you're someone who doesn't really know much about investing but wants to invest and wants to be in the right environment, if you are scared of stock market, I didn't plan to do all this, but I literally have someone in the club. I posted it on my stories that said for the first time he has gone back into stocks. And then the cool part was he had gone back into stocks, and next thing someone says, "Oh, that's fantastic." A member of the club, not triggered by anything. I just started explaining, "Oh, consider this, consider that, blah blah blah." People have bodies in the club. Like, the club is a place to be. Like it literally is. This is not just because I founded it, but the club is a place to be. It's a community. I've gotten so much feedback on that, that oh, they love this club. They love the community, they love the peace, they love the support. It is fantastic. So I highly recommend. Please check us out. Oh, I see a question from Osari Mese. Before I go, I think we have good time here, so I can answer. Hi, Ola. Good morning. Joined a bit late. Reading that Nigeria is off the FATF grid is very good news. Our cross-border payments will see significant increase, cheaper cost, and more investment. That is a fantastic summary. That is such a fantastic one, and that is literally it. And I think it's also important for people to know that a lot of these things that we struggle with is policy. It's policy. A lot of the things that we struggle with, that oh, this thing doesn't work in this place, there is something fundamental that needs to be fixed, and most times it is a document that needs to be signed. I kid you not. I kid you not. A lot of the things that you see that are not working, they require a policy change for them to start working. They require some kind of signing or something. And this one, a lot of people were complaining, oh, and they thought it was tied to. So, yes, you would tie it to leadership, yes, because leadership should ensure that this kind of things don't happen. Somebody dropped the ball, and there should be consequences for that. However, who would think that it's just one list that is our problem? If you get what I mean. And usually there's just a way we make things look big, but literally you would see the impact of taking out on this list, even in terms of foreign investors coming into the country, in our stock market, in our bonds market, even in terms of capital raises. There are some people that would not touch people from countries on that list just because their compliance can't deal. Because the amount of regulatory filings you have to do when you engage internationally with Nigeria on a gray list is a lot. So these are the issues. Like it's real. It is actually very real. And so yes, thank you for sharing. It's very, very valid. Thank you so much. I was saying the club. I think I finished on that. Let me pop the link up somewhere for you guys to see. Yeah. So you can see that. But yeah, let's move on to the last news. The last news is African news. Oh yes, this one was just made me smile, and I mean it's very important. Um, the way people talk about how there was a time when land in Lekki was so cheap, Lekki was empty, blah, 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 blah. You wouldn't actually believe that people are paying so much for property in Lekki 10, 15, 20 years later, if you get what I mean. That's the power of foresight. That's the power of let me just drop and see. Let me just put this thing. This thing looks like there's some opportunity there. Some may work, some may not work. Some people bought land in Lekki, some people bought land in Akute. No vex to the people that bought land in Akute, but you can't compare, right? In terms of price appreciation, right? So you will do both in terms of diversification. What am I saying? When you begin to see some things happening, you don't wait for it to happen completely, because if it has happened completely, then it has been priced in, the cheese has moved. You have to start looking for the next cheese to jump on. Africa is changing. You guys, Africa is changing. It cannot change overnight like you would do a U-turn with a Bugatti. It would change like you are turning a massive ship slowly. So it will almost feel like nothing is happening. You won't feel the U-turn. You will not feel it, but it is happening. So just think about it this way. Africa is changing. And then if you haven't already, ask yourself, how am I positioned for a united Africa? Guess what? It's not going to happen overnight. But if you plan to live 20, 30 years, then you should be thinking like that. Because 1 year might be too short, but over a 10, 15-year period, you will see significant changes. So, for example, Kenya comes and they say that, the effect that has been choking me, I need to start building my gold reserves. And my brother in Ghana is down the road. Ghana just announced that they're going to start refining their gold themselves. They're not exporting the raw material anymore, the raw thing anymore. They were going to start refining. They opened their first refinery. They started putting some structures in terms of traders and blah, 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 right before our eyes. And then you see Kenya saying that I want to start I want to, so everybody, country literally would have gold reserves, right? But I want to intentionally build my gold reserves. Why? Guys, between last year, we're announcing gold at 2K. We've announced gold at 4K. That's times two. Why? Because every time the whole world is uncertain, gold goes up. And there's a guy that is trying to make America great again, that is ensuring that we can't really predict what's going to happen next. So that's a case for gold. And so Kenya is saying, I'm going to buy gold, but I'm not just going anywhere. I'm going to my brothers down the road, right? We're talking about Africa Free Continental Free Trade Agreement. We're talking about all those things, guys. Africa is changing. That's what I just came to say. Right before our eyes. It's not going to happen overnight. But you see these policies, you see these implementations, one step on top of the other. You see there's something called PAPS, it's a Pan-African payment system. The same way if you've heard of SWIFT, right? So they're setting up that one. Then they're now plugging into China also. And African banks are plugging in. They are building those connections so that one day you will realize that, oh, you can easily convert from naira to Kenyan shillings. You don't have to go to dollars. And both of you have gold. Yeah, you're buying gold from Ghana. Do you understand? It's happening, guys. Just putting it out there. So the question is, I look frozen. Am I frozen? Please confirm that you can see me. Uh-oh. Please confirm that you can see me. I'm not seeing myself. I see myself as frozen. But anyways, I'm at the end though. We just wanted to highlight that if you don't have any position in Africa, if you're not doing anything across Africa, property, investment, you need to rethink it. It's risky. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? It's risky, but you need to do something. Especially if you're an African, you can't miss these boats because even offshore investors are coming in with these financial times, with financial action um my head has frozen because there's something wrong with my technology, I can tell. But with this gray list that we're taking off, it's major, right? So you don't want to miss the boats because you will see the impact in the next 10 to 15 years. See you next week. Bye.